What is up, bros and broettes? I'm Inkslasher, and today we're going to be talking about the bad stuff in Black Ops 3. Yeah, normally most of my videos are pretty positive when it comes to Call of Duty and all of that stuff, but I think this is something that definitely needs to be talked about, because this is something that doesn't only need to be fixed in Black Ops 3, but in every single Call of Duty game going forward. Now, this is kind of a hot topic right now. I know Drift0r made a video about this, and Marksman, so I think I'm just going to pipe up and kind of give my opinion on this, because yes, whether a Call of Duty game is good or bad is a matter of opinion. Some people like shitty games. Some people like shitty movies. Like, believe it or not, some people think that Call of Duty Ghosts is the best Call of Duty game to date. I certainly don't agree with that. I know many of you don't, but everyone's eligible to their opinion, and that's the great thing about the internet. It's everyone's able to state their opinion and kind of give what they think. So you can always let me know what you think of the present state of Black Ops 3 and what you think about going forward in Call of Duty, and I'm going to give you my opinion and my overview of what we've seen so far in Black Ops 3, and kind of giving you my ideas of whether the game is actually good as a game or just a complete pile of shit. So Black Ops 3 as a game, I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's one of my favorite Call of Duty games ever. Is it the best Call of Duty game ever? I don't think so, but as far as the game dynamics go, I think they are pretty good. I think definitely it's a fun game to play and has many fun aspects to it. On top of that, most of those dynamics in the game are pretty well thought out and behave pretty well. What I mean by that is that if we look at something like weapon balance, there isn't a huge gap in weapons. There are weapons that are going to be the best weapons in the game, but all in all, there isn't two weapons that are going to perform hands better, and if you use any other weapons, you're going to be at a disadvantage. What I mean by this is if you played Advanced Warfare, if you didn't use the BAL or you didn't use the ASM-1, you were at a huge disadvantage, and you just couldn't perform as well as those weapons. Whereas in this game, I can pretty much pick up any weapon in the game, it being an HVK, even like an ICR-1 that has a horrible time to kill, I can still pick it up and actually perform pretty well with it. Of course, there are the better guns in the game. You got your VMP or M8, you got your KN-44, those weapons that are just a little bit better, and I think pretty much every COD game has some weapons like that. But all in all, weapon balance wise, it's one of the better in the Call of Duty series. And as far as a fun aspect goes, there is some fun to be had in this game. As far as the score streaks, I think they could be a little bit better, but all in all, they're still fun to get, and the specialist weapons and abilities are fun. However, yes, it does these dynamics in the game very well, but the basics, the very basic aspects of this Call of Duty game are complete and total garbage. So what do I mean by this? Once I am in a game, if I'm in a game and it's balanced teams, I have so much fun playing this game. The problem is, as of right now, and even at the beginning of the life cycle of Black Ops 3, it's next to impossible to actually get into a normal lobby, especially if you are trying to play with friends. Since the very beginning of Black Ops 3, there's just this weird glitch with the game and my internet provider where I cannot join anyone's game. I can't join friends' games. They can join mine occasionally, but I can't join their games whatsoever. If they are already in a lobby and I've played with one of the people in their lobby, I might be able to join them that way, but I can't join their lobby, and half the time they can't even join mine. This is something to do with NAT type and the way it works. This has never ever happened to me before in a Call of Duty game. Even going back to Call of Duty 4, I never had this problem, even though my NAT type was almost never open. Also, I do live streams. I do live streams quite frequently, and every time I do a live stream, it's an open lobby. Sometimes players just are unable to join my games because of this weird NAT type issue. Again, this has never been a problem before until now. But let's say everything works out properly. It's one of those rare circumstances where someone can actually join my game properly. When we then, as a party, go to join a game, that aspect is almost, again, next to impossible to actually happen. There's several things that can actually happen that stop me from actually getting into a game. The first thing that can happen is it just randomly kicks people from my party. They are just no longer in the game and then have to retry to join again. Another thing that happens is we'll get into a game as a full party, but half of my party will be on the opposing team. It doesn't even make any sense. And even more frequently than all of that, I'll just fail to host the lobby. It won't let me search a game whatsoever, and everyone in my party will get disbanded, and all of a sudden they have to try to rejoin. And sometimes the people who were in that party, their game just crashes altogether. They have to restart their PlayStation and then are unable to join my party. It's one of the most frustrating things when trying to host an open lobby is this. And no, it's not my internet. Trust me, back in Advanced Warfare, I would host open lobbies no problem. Now that we're in Black Ops 3 and trying to host open lobbies, I actually have a 10 times as fast internet connection that I can't play with my friends on. Back in the day, before I was even doing these open lobbies, there was a guy I worked with, and we wanted to play some Black Ops 3 together, and we couldn't. We could not play at all Black Ops 3 together. We could join each other's party and talk to each other, but we couldn't actually play the game together. Ever since the beginning of the game's release, I could never play with a friend. That's one of the largest aspects of Black Ops 3 or Call of Duty as a whole, is the ability to play with your friends, and it was never available to me from the first day of release. That's just a broken game. That's a horrible, horrible aspect to a game. It's impossible for me to play with the people I want to play with. What I'm getting at is this is just a little bit ridiculous, a little bit unforgivable that this just hasn't been patched. And it's one of the largest aspects to me to make a Call of Duty game fun, the ability to play with my friends. And it just isn't there. It's not an option for me. On top of that, this isn't a first for Treyarch as far as Black Ops 3 goes. One huge glitch that they had in the game is that when you picked up a weapon, your whole screen would shake. It's the earthquake glitch. All of a sudden, everything would be shaking and would just randomly stop eventually. And this took them 9 months to patch. 9 months to patch the entire screen shaking for like 30 seconds in your game. It took them 9 months to patch that simple thing. And they say it's patched now, but it still happens to me. I don't know if it happens to you guys. It 100% still happens to me. Sometimes it's in other circumstances, not necessarily picking up a weapon, but the earthquakes certainly are still happening to me. I don't know whether they're just tremors from the original earthquakes, but they're absolutely still there. Now, that's not all. I'm not done talking about just the basic aspects of this game. Another example of this is after DLC 3. Once DLC 3 came out, this huge problem happened in the game, and I don't know what it is. It's still happening to me. Some people say it's patched for them, but it's still happening for me. That problem is just massive frame drops. All of a sudden, it feels like I'm playing on less than 30 FPS in Call of Duty. If I'm correct when I say this, I believe since Call of Duty 4, Call of Duty has been a 60 FPS game, and it feels like Black Ops 3 is playing at less than 30 half the time. That's just unforgivable. And I believe that the problem there is that they've actually put so much content into the game, the PlayStation or Xbox is actually having trouble running the game itself because there is just so much additional content on there having to do with the supply drop weapons and all of that. I don't know if that's true, but that's what it seems like to me, because as soon as they added those extra maps, DLC 3, the problem got worse. And for me, once I downloaded DLC 4, it once again got worse and worse and worse. And the more content they added, the more it's screwing up the game. So they're just trying to get money, and in turn, the game that I'm playing and paying money for is in turn getting worse. And that's just completely unacceptable and not even in the slightest bit okay. And then on top of that, there's this new problem for me. This new problem is that I'll be getting into a game. I'll finally be getting into that game, and I'll just be destroying the enemy team. And the enemy team leaves because they're losing, and then host migration just doesn't work anymore. It's in the game. I know it's there, but all of a sudden it'll say server disconnected, failed to connect to host. All of these things. It happens very frequently, and it's always when I'm doing well in a game because that's when the enemy rage quits. Why is host migration not working? I don't know. It's been in the game since Modern Warfare 2. I don't know why it's not working. And then we could even go further and talk about scrub-based matchmaking, which is the thing where I'm on a team and I'm going 20-5, where everyone else on my team has less than 5 kills and over 20 deaths. I don't know why that happens to me. I've heard it happen to a lot of other YouTubers, and I don't know why it's in the game, but to this date, it is still happening to me. And to me, that's worse than skill-based matchmaking, because if my team's dying, all of a sudden the entire other team has these huge score streaks, just raps upon raps upon raps, and there's nothing I can do. I just can't kill them fast enough because my teammates are a bunch of players without any thumbs. So the overall part that I'm getting at here is I like playing Black Ops 3. 3. I like how the game plays. I like the way the weapons feel. I like the way the score streaks are. But the problem I'm having is I'm not actually able to play the game because I can't get into games. If I try to play with friends, I can't play with friends. If I try to have an open lobby, we can't join a game. For hours sometimes I can't join a game. About a week ago, I was streaming and I was trying to play some Black Ops 3, and it took over an hour to get into a game. Over an hour to get into one game with a full party of people. Once I got into that game, the host left the lobby because we were killing them so bad, and then we disconnected, host migration didn't work, and all of a sudden, I'm out of that game that I just waited an hour to be in. And that is just not I can't play the game. The game that I like, it's impossible to play. What I actually did is I went and played World at War on Xbox One. I know it's backwards compatible, but I went and played that instead because a game that came out, like, what, over 6 years ago, has better servers than Black Ops 3 right now, which is just sad when only like 9,000 people are playing World at War right now. So that's incredibly sad to see that I can't even play the current generation of Call of Duty. But it's just not okay. If you ask me, it's not okay. But you can let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Like I said, everyone is able to have their own opinion. To me, I am just currently frustrated that I can't play a game that I actually enjoy because the servers are so bad. I can't play with friends and all of the things we already talked about in today's video. Even just the frames dropping is so frustrating, especially when it gets you killed. But like I said, that's beside the point. So let me know what you think. If you enjoyed the video, it'd be fantastic if you could leave a like rating. Like I said, this is going to be an opinionated video, so it will get a little bit of dislikes. So if you could like the video, that would be fantastic if you enjoyed. But you can always check out my Twitch, Twitter, and second channel down in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, peace out.